Meg Martin, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. It's nice to be back.
Back again. I was just going to say for the people who are listening, it's just like this is the second time we're doing this. First time was beautiful.
Yeah.
We had an awesome conversation.
That was amazing.
But we just had a bit of technical difficulties with the mic.
Yeah. So we're here again.
Yeah, it was interesting because I was listening back to the episode and I saw that, and actually when I was transferring the files over to our hard drive, there wasn't your audio there, and I was looking through it and I was like, did I put it on a different like SD card? And I was just going on, and then there was one little one that had like the first part of me putting the microphone into your pocket, and then it cut out, and I was like, we've turned it off.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Yeah.
That's okay. But
we've made sure they're on today about 5 times.
They are on today. The first chat was beautiful, but I tell you what, I am happy to be here. How are you? How are you feeling?
Great. I mean, I feel like everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
So clearly we had more to talk about or different something to talk about. Lucky we both don't have that good memory. So like we can just have the same conversation later.
You were saying, you're like, do you listen back to it? I was like, I didn't listen back to it. I just thought we'd just roll straight into it.
Yeah, just go again.
Yeah. And even like when you said you rolled in today, you're like, oh, it's been a very like busy time and it was easy. It would have been easy for you to be like, oh, can we just do it another time? Why did you still show up today?
Yeah, well, I mean, I felt tired, and I also felt like, I mean, I'm a human, and what I thought was, even for example, my skin wasn't great, and I was getting these thoughts like, oh, maybe I should just tell Keegan I'll do it next week, and then I just thought, authenticity is my lead moral value and what I feel like is so important to share with the world, that people need to see realness. And I thought, well, if my skin's bad and I'm tired, I'm a little bit hormonal and all over the place, well, that's just how I am. And like, I should be able to share that too, because it's relatable and it's the message that I want to share. So yeah.
And to be honest, that's probably like one of the biggest things that I got from our last conversation. Like obviously we've had a heap of conversations since then, but the main thing that I got out was just like your ability just to be so like, yeah, like you said, authentic, but just like real and not like, I guess like not jaded by like society or your environment or or probably a little bit who you hang out, but like, it's just who you are as a person. How do you reckon you get there? Like, because it's hard, right? Especially when you're young and you're a teenager and you're trying to figure it all out and your hormones running everywhere.
Yeah.
It's just like, how do you figure out like self? You think about that often at all?
Yeah, I mean, all the time. And I wouldn't say I'm there. I feel like I think it's an endless pursuit throughout your life of discovering who you are and then rediscovering who you are and going deeper and deeper. But I mean, for starters, I would say obviously I have faith, so I believe in God and that every person has a unique calling on this earth. And so for me, definitely finding my confidence and who I am, who God's created me to be, because if you know who God created you to be, you will always feel confident in the beautiful creation that you are, as in who you are and who everyone is. It's all unique and amazing. So it doesn't mean that we don't have strengths and weaknesses or highs and lows and challenges, but I think when you can just realize that no one is you and that's your power, that is the best realization you'll ever have and the most liberating one. And also it's the most fulfilled I've felt is leaning into that. As in, I've definitely been on the flip side where I've been who I've thought I'm supposed to be or thought what maybe people want to see on social media or whatever it is for a shorter period of time when I first started. And then I just realized for me, I'm like, it doesn't matter if people enjoy seeing it if it doesn't make me feel good sharing it. So, and also that's what I appreciate in other people. So I try to show as much of me personally and just continue that self-discovery. I think I'm not afraid of delving into the good and the bad. If I struggle with a situation or I feel jealous in a situation, I'm not afraid of those emotions. I just go, okay, they're here to show me something. What is it that they're showing me? Rather than feeling like those emotions need to be attached to shame or guilt. And that's definitely God that helps me with that.
I think it's really cool when you can see someone who is like living that true authentic self, right? It's like there's a certain energy that I think is attached to like that. And to be honest, I think it's infectious. Like when you see, so like even when we like had a coffee or when you're like just sitting down, it's just like you feel that energy and you're like, oh, like, how do I get there? Like, how do
Yeah.
I want to be? I remember when I was like, when I was younger, when I first went into the NRL system, I was like 17, like I was super like young, shy.
Yeah.
And I didn't say a word for the first year because I was so nervous. Right? I was so nervous. Like, and yeah, and well, you got your people you look up to. But then like, as I got older and probably more so as I transitioned out of the NRL, started to become like super confident in who I was as a person. Because same thing, I like dialed into my like values and belief. I stood up for what I thought was right, and I got positive reinforcement from people who were close to me, friends, family, even people who I just newly met. They're like, "I love your energy," and I was just like, "Oh, well, that's just the energy that like I operate with as me." Not as like that little 17-year-old kid who was putting out an energy that probably wasn't him.
Yeah.
And so when you get that reinforcement from loved ones, even people who you newly meet, they're like, I like that energy. You're like, oh, well, that's me. Yeah.
When you're living in your authentic self. And also realizing that there's just nothing in the world that everyone likes.
Yeah.
As in, if you are changing yourself depending on who you're around to make sure that everyone likes you, which is human nature. So it's something that you've got to learn to just resist to some extent. It just allows you to step into you because you're okay with the fact that, okay, Keegan might just not like me, and that's all right, you know. And often it's like more of a reflection of what's going on internally in the other person.
For sure.
And so the more I've learned about myself, the more I've learned about how others behave, and I don't take as much personally what other people are doing because I understand those feelings in myself, if that makes sense.
No, it does. It does. You notice the feelings, but you also like we've touched on like so authentic to yourself. I remember I listened to a keynote or like a talk with Stephen Bartlett. He's got a podcast called Diary of a CEO. Really impressive podcast, but he talks about like authenticity, showing up as a brand, but also as an individual.
Yeah.
And the uniqueness part is something that he like really drilled in. Is that you could be like, he's like, it's really hard to be the best runner in the world or the best athlete in the world or the best business person in the world. But if you have like all these really unique traits, right? Like say you're a runner, but you also loved pottery and you also loved cooking really good foods. And the fact that you have like all these different uniquenesses actually makes you the best at all of them together, or you can be the best at all of them together, right?
Yeah.
Because when I look at you, like you're obviously like your religion is like something that you really lean into and you love and you're vocal about it. You also have like this incredible community. You also do these incredible challenges and you've got like all these really like not unique things, but individual pillars and coming together. Like that makes you as a person.
It's a recipe of you.
Right.
Yeah.
And I just think that's so cool. I didn't really have a follow-up question for that. I think I was just riffing.
It's great. It's so important.
I think like looking at those pillars, going back, what do you think of the experiences that you had growing up that contributed to who you are as a person now?
I mean, that's a big question.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think a lot of different things. For me, I guess going way back when I was super young, I was an elite gymnast. So from when I was about 3 until I was 10, I was in elite gymnastics, training before school, after school, that sort of thing. And I also went to a really great school. I loved my school as well. And then after I chose to stop doing gymnastics because the training load was so high. And then I went into a sport called sports aerobics. So I think in terms of the discipline side of me, I think because I was always in an athletic sport, I knew, okay, well, discipline creates results pretty much. So if you work hard, you'll see results. So that side of me definitely came from being an athlete so young. However, I mean, I know we spoke about this last time. Because I was always training and then studying, I wasn't very social, so I was a little bit socially awkward.
Yeah, I remember when you said that, I was just like, wait, we're talking about the right person. They're like, I've come a long way.
Yeah, I mean, yes. And so I was a bit socially awkward. And I think I also was, at some point, that discipline almost becomes, okay, but am I worth something without the work as well, if that makes sense? As in, obviously I've worked really hard to be this amazing gymnast, or I've worked really hard to be this amazing sports aerobics athlete, but am I something if I don't have that? Or who am I if I don't have that sort of thing?
These questions that you were like thinking about when you were younger?
I think, yeah, maybe not that young, but when I was towards the end of my sports aerobics career, it's definitely something that I realized, because in sports aerobics, I won worlds when I wasn't top age. So you have 14 to 16, I won when I was 15, the category that I was in. Sports aerobics is a super random sport. It's kind of like gymnastics, cross dance, but to the intensity of CrossFit. You're smiling the whole time, which is why I think I smile when I'm in pain. But it's like a very strange sport, so it's hard to explain. But it's a sick sport. It's very hard. And when I finished, so I won when I was 15, and then I went back the following year, and that whole year I focused on winning. Because rather than when I won when I was 15, I just focused on doing sports aerobics because I loved it. Following year, go back because I have a new expectation. I just need to win because I'm the person dubbed to win because I won when I wasn't top age. So I go back to Worlds, train the whole year, and I end up stuffing up my routine. And on my last, you do 3 rounds. On my last round, I came second by 0.1 of a point. And so for me, it felt like the whole year was wasted. And in that time, that was a pivotal learning for me, was that because it felt like the whole year was wasted because I came second, I didn't celebrate coming second. I felt like I lost because I came second and I didn't win, and the whole year was wasted. So it made me realize I no longer loved the sport. I was just doing it to win. And from then on, I had this realization of, you know what? It's actually not worth it to me to just win. Doesn't mean I don't want to win. I freaking am super competitive. But win. Trevor Hendy is one of my biggest mentors, and I hope that you get him on the show. He's a hard man to get a hold of, but I'll try and help. But he talks about this concept of win on all levels rather than win at all costs. And so I think I used to have this mentality of win at all costs because I needed to win in order to feel good about myself. Whereas now it's, I'm going to enjoy the whole process of what I'm doing. Obviously there's hard days and good days, but you appreciate the hard days because you know what you're working towards. And then you get to win every day as well as on the day that you actually win. So yeah, that was just definitely a pivotal realization for me, was that you have to be passionate about it or it's just not worth it.
How does that show up in everyday life now?
I mean, I feel like your passions can change over time, but Will and I, my husband and I, we have a training app and a performance running apparel range, Mega, that we're bringing out. In fact, we actually just got our samples back just before I came here.
Really?
Yes.
I'm not going to lie. I've been in your socks for the last couple weeks. They're so good.
Makes such a difference.
My long runs are like, that is all I'm wearing now.
So good. Yeah. I mean, and we're so passionate about it because, one, we love getting after it ourselves, but we just wanted to create apparel where we're excited to put it on. And when you put it on, you feel like you're ready to rip. So I guess I'm living my calling, and my calling is to spread the message that we are all capable of more. And everyone is put here with a unique purpose to contribute to the world, as in your greatest contribution to humanity is to live your passion, live your calling, live your purpose. And so I feel it on my heart to, one, give people enough confidence to do it and show them that they've got it in themselves, but also like figure out what that is.
I do want to zoom in on that in a second. Just before we do, there was one thing that you mentioned around when you realized that you were doing the thing not because you loved it, because you wanted to win. How do you think that one should navigate, or how have you navigated when you should say no to something or when you should give up on something? Because I think a lot of times the conversation in our environments and in society is around like, well, giving up is a bad thing to do. But sometimes it might not be around giving up for the fact that it's too hard. It might be giving up for the fact because it's not serving you anymore. You don't have the love and the passion that you once had. What are your thoughts around that?
Yeah, I think it's a decision you have to make internally in yourself. And it is something I almost feel like when I am because I obviously on the app, we help people achieve insane goals through running and Hyrox and everything like that. And so, but we also focus heavily on the mental. And I think there's like part one where you build people's discipline and confidence to where they have to do everything all the time. And then there's also, part two is learning when is the right time to push and when is the right time to rest, for example. And I think that's the level two. And so to answer your question, I think internally you need to self-reflect on what it is, because I'll use the example of I have pulled out of Hyrox races before, and and I've heard people say, I think I've pulled out of one. I've heard people, oh no, two, and I've heard people say, when is, oh, it's weak to pull out, that says something about your character, whatever it is. And the reason I think they say that is because that's how they would feel. They would feel disappointed in themselves because their worth is in that. So for me, when I pulled out, for example, at Worlds, because I did solos on the first day, I did mixed doubles on the second day, and women's doubles on the third day. Now, for context, coming into Worlds, I was bedridden sick for 2 weeks before Worlds.
Yeah.
And so coming into it, I thought, oh, I'm not really in my best shape. I feel pretty bad. And so I wanted to just give solos a go, and I felt like I had recovered enough, but I hadn't trained that 2 weeks. I felt like I was better-ish. And so I started my race, and I thought, I'm just going to have a crack. And if I don't feel good, I will stop. I can do that, And so I started, I did maybe 2 or 3 stations, and then I just thought, you know what, I feel dreadful, and I don't want to let down Will because I'm racing with him tomorrow, and I don't want to let down Molly because I'm racing the day after. That I've made a commitment to 2 people. So I pulled out, and I didn't think twice about it.
Yeah.
So I don't think that says that I'm a quitter. I think that says that I'm comfortable in myself to know when it is the time to push and when it's not. Because when I raced with Will and when I raced with Molly, freaking left everything out on the floor, and I have no problem doing it. I just made that decision. Or another example is when I raced in whatever the last one was, Sydney. I probably shouldn't have raced, reflecting, but I'm human too. I make mistakes, and I was just overexcited, and so I started the race, and I still hadn't trained since Worlds, because if you compete when you're not 100%, it's way worse afterwards.
Yeah.
That's what happened. And anyway, I started my Sydney race, and I got to sled pull, and I felt like my heart was going to explode. And so I just thought, I don't want to I said to myself in the moment, am I completing this to be like, oh, I completed this, I got it done, even when it was hard? I'm like, I don't need to do that. I know I can do hard things. I'm literally doing that for my ego, not because it's the good thing for my health. I could just smash myself through that, and then I'm going to suffer in my health for the next 2 weeks, month. Could even do damage.
Yeah.
So I think in that moment you have to look internally. And if you're someone who, if you pull out, it's going to make you feel really bad about yourself, I'd suggest to keep going and then figure out afterwards why you feel that way.
Yeah, I think that's such a great way to look at it, because I'm constantly thinking, I'm keen to pressure test this a little bit. It's like, well, what about if that person has a lot of outside pressure to do the thing? So whether it's like, I'm thinking someone who's in a job that has a family that they need to support, or if someone's doing an event, they might be a runner or an athlete, and in order to pay their bills or to reach this certain goal or achievement, they're relying on like the funding from sponsors, or they have a team that they're attached to. How do you think one would go around that if they don't have like the passion or like the thing that passion, but they still have all these like obligations, whether that's to sponsors or family?
I mean, you could keep going and get it done, but it's not going to fix the root problem that you're not doing what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
And that, I find, winning can be an illusion for a lot of people. The win at all cost mentality means that you go and win, but then you need to keep winning in order to feel good. It buys you a short period of time to feel good.
Yeah.
But then you got to go and win again, or you're not enough.
Oh my God.
And so it's about learning how to, as if you're an elite level Hyrox athlete, you'll realize that some days you're going to race well, other days you're not going to race very well.
Yeah.
And if you can realize that, then you're not going to have a bad race and think I'm a bad athlete. You're going to think, man, that wasn't my day.
Yeah.
And it's all good. And be happy that it's someone else's day.
Oh, yeah.
And that's coming from someone who is super competitive and loves to win.
Yeah.
But and I'm not perfect, I have to say, but I have learned that's how it should be, because ultimately what we should be striving for in life is not to win or not to make the most money or not to, we're always like, humans are just trying to go up and up and up.
Yeah.
But what's it all for if we're not enjoying what we're doing?
Yeah.
Just doesn't make any sense. And I don't know, I think about this all the time. I'm like, it's innate in us to be striving after progression, but then we don't actually enjoy the process.
Oh my God. I think about that all the time, especially with mates who are like still playing professional sport, whether that's been rugby league, like they're good at it. They're the best at it. They make like obviously so much more money than that what typically make in just doing a normal job, but they don't like what they do. And I think like maybe I fell into that like boat a little bit when I was playing footy because I was good at it, but I liked so many more things like surfing and psychology and mental health and all these things. And then I see these guys now and I'm like, oh man, like you're just there because you're earning a lot of money. There's might be like a little ego thing there potentially, but life could be so much better if you find your passion. And I think I can say that because like I've done it. Like I felt like I medically retired from footy, like finished up like probably a bit sooner than I probably would have liked to. But then you find your passion, your purpose, and then you like have all this energy when you talk about it, and you're like, oh, well, you've experienced it. I know you've experienced it. You just spoke about it, but now you want other people to experience it. And like even in the lead-in, we've had like conversations around like your partner will yourself have influenced so many people. I know like last time when we were talking, we had a friend who I think was shooting for the podcast when we were out there. I forgot who, our friend was shooting for the podcast, and he was saying that Will, I think, well, he was talking about. Sorry, I'm going on a bit of a random tangent here, but he was saying how like he just wanted to get into like videography or photography, and then they were saying like, oh, Will was just like, oh, well, you could be like the best videographer in the world, and he's like, what? He's like, yeah, like you can, and he had that belief in him before he had that belief in him. Do you think like where does that come from? Because I know you guys like you do that, like you're very like you want to inject like energy and belief into people. It's part of, I know it's part of the app, I know it's part of like how you guys operate as people. Like why do you do that?
Why do I do that? I think because someone's done that for me.
Yeah.
So I mean, Will at times has believed in me more than I've believed in myself, and probably me the same for him. And so, and I think that is seriously one of the most powerful things you can have in your life is someone who is gonna, I guess that's why it's so important, the 5 people that you have in your life or the close people you have in your life, because you need people that in your moments when you do doubt, because everybody has self-doubt, that you can be reminded of why you're doing it and to refocus. I mean, again, faith helps with that too. But I think the reason why we do it for others is primarily because we know how it feels when you are living on that path, and we know that we had other people do it for us. And also the things that people can do when they take the limits off is just crazy.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. I've just seen it over and over because we used to have the run clubs, Meg Martin, for 3.5 years. People would show up to a 10K. So we used to run 10Ks every Sunday, but you could run any distance up to 10K. So some people might run 500 meters and that's great. But you'd see people over time, or like some people would come for the first time and say, I've never run before, and then just go and smash 10K.
Wow.
And then when they finish, they think you can see a glow in them just of self-belief and of being proud of themselves. And it's so special seeing that in people's faces. I feel like I love, and that is what I see in that. I'm like, yes, like you've got more. And if everybody had someone that believes in them, which they do, they have God, but not everyone knows him, then that is what unlocks that whole new level of potential.
Had there been times where you have put a ceiling on yourself? And if so, how have you navigated taking that ceiling off or knocking that ceiling down?
Definitely when I was younger, I had a ceiling, or I used to even just make excuses for why I wasn't where I wanted to be. But then I realized that the only person that loses from that is me. And so that was when I sort of started my progression or self-development in terms of even from being socially awkward to being comfortable and having conversation. Doesn't always mean it's easier. It comes naturally necessarily, but the more reps you put in, the more comfortable you become. But I think I've lost track of what I was saying.
Having ceilings.
Oh, yes.
Knocking ceilings down.
I don't. I I think through doing smaller things that I thought I once couldn't do, I realized that the ceilings don't have to be there. So it wasn't like I went from not running at all to running 160 Ks. I went from running not at all to 10 Ks and then thinking, well, what else can I do? Run 21 Ks. Oh, well, could I do a marathon? Do the marathon. Can I do 100 Ks? Can I do 160 Ks? And then I think you just realize that, well, I did realize that you can do anything you want as long as, one, you believe it's possible, and two, you're willing to put in the work. And the second one is important because we can easily say, oh, I want to go and be the best rock climber in the world. Okay, great. But do you also want to do the work that's required to get there?
Yeah.
And I think that's where sometimes it can get tricky. People think they want something, but do they want the process or just the outcome?
Yeah. And do you think that's why you do all these hard things? Because you want to keep seeing where the limit is?
Yeah, definitely.
Because you've done some gnarly things, like the 100-kilometer. I know, like that ultra running space is something that really interesting.
Yeah.
I know I've watched a few of the docos that you put out on YouTube. Like
everyone likes the one where I'm crying. It's
yeah.
To mention, I'm like, okay, everyone just wants to see me cry.
Yeah.
But I am human.
100%.
Yeah.
But that that's the authenticity thing.
Yeah.
But I think is that why you do hard things, to see where the limit is?
Yeah, yes. I think initially when I started doing it, it was building confidence in what I'm capable of, because I think true confidence comes from knowing who you are and knowing what you're capable of and knowing that you can achieve anything you put your mind to. But that's what it started off as. And then I think it's now turned into, well, if you can learn how to navigate chosen suffering, then when life suffering happens, you have confidence in yourself that you can handle it better.
Yeah.
Because I would take 100 Ks any day over maybe personal issues that you have, or financial struggle that you may face, or business struggle that you may face. That is way harder than running 100 Ks in my opinion. But that's where it becomes important to continually challenge yourself with whatever you find hard.
Yeah.
So someone else who never runs might think the 100 Ks is way harder than dealing with financial struggle or whatever it is, or being on a diet is way harder. Whatever it is, it's more about you have to continually change the challenge or else it may no longer be hard. So for me, the ultras still hurt in the moment. Yeah. But I would choose the ultra over something else currently, so I should do the other thing that's in front of me that's hard, if that makes sense. No. And there's no point in running them unless you can apply what you've learned to your life.
100%. Yeah, no, I do love that. I think that's a really beautiful thing, because especially when you're in it, zooming in on that, when you're in the thick of it and it's hard, you go to some really dark places, right?
Yeah.
And you can find out what you're truly made of. Even for me, running doesn't come naturally. I'm typically a bigger body.
I don't feel like it comes naturally to me either. I feel like I'm a brick, and everyone's like, "You're a great runner." I'm thinking, that's not what I'm thinking when I'm running.
But you've put so much work into it. They're obviously looking at the outcome, not the years and years and years of process. I remember when we did the UTA, the 50 ultra, 50K ultra, and at the 30-kilometer mark, my knee blew up, and I was just like, I don't know, I think I'm going to DNF, and then in my head I was thinking of the Instagram caption that I was going to write to say today's not my day, I had this
and
thing.
It fires you up.
And to be honest, I was leaning into it, and I was I'm going to give myself an hour to see if I can push through it, because how the course worked, it was the last 20K was a 10K downhill, so blow out the leg, but the course into a 10K uphill. Yeah.
Jeez,
you've done UTA?
I haven't on UTA.
Gotcha. Well, anyway,
now I want to do it.
Yeah.
You tell me it's a 10K downhill.
This is the last set.
Let's go.
It's the same for the 100. So the 50, the last 20K of the 50 and the 100 are the exact same. So I couldn't imagine doing the 100. Which maybe we will
I'm
do.
Let it do it.
Maybe we will do it.
Don't tell me that.
I know. But at that one point, I was just I don't know if I'm going to be finish it. And I was I'll give myself an hour. And then I got to the point where I could just keep ticking the legs over. But it was so cool looking back on it, because that was probably one of the times since playing footy where I genuinely didn't think I was going to be able to keep going.
So
and then when you get through it, you finish your race, you're frothing, you're pumped, it's so and you get this newfound confidence, I think. I think that like that being in the thick of it, being in the hardness of it, I think is just so important.
And it also, the amazing thing about ultras is because they're over such a long period of time, it really is a metaphor for life in the sense that like you go through these highs and then you go through these lows and you think you're never going to get out of that low.
Yeah.
But then you're like running like you've never run the previous 40Ks or whatever. And yeah. So it just shows like this.
It's so bizarre. I think it's so wild. Have you got anything coming up?
I mean, actually,
I don't want to be one of those guys who are just like, oh, what's your next event? Because we don't have to always have an event on the horizon.
I mean, my focus is my businesses at the moment, and that in itself kind of feels like an event, isn't it? It's this journey, I guess you could say, and I'm loving it.
What does it look like at the moment?
As in, what is my day?
Yeah, your day. What are your goals for the business? How, like, where do you want to take it? Like, you said, we're taking the ceiling off. Like, what does that look like?
It's a good point. Well, we have two sort of parts of our business where one is the Train to Go Squad app, and I love that part because obviously, well, part two is the apparel, and I think at the moment it's performance running apparel, but it will end up being more adventure because that's what we do, as in we love.
Really?
Well, yeah, I mean, Will and I love skiing and surfing and all that sort of stuff. So running right now, but we'll just see what happens, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too, is obviously I am a planner and I like planning, but you know, your plans don't always, if you're too rigid on your plans, you miss out what's actually supposed to happen for you. So I think I'm often going, this is where I think I'm going, but I'm always, you know, praying and seeing if I feel like that's actually where I'm supposed to be going, if that makes sense. So the apparel is obviously to inspire people that they're capable of more. Like when they put it on there, they think this is the sickest apparel I've ever worn. Plus it's super high quality. So for me, when I was running the ultra marathons, I never found anything that I thought, wow, this is the best quality, I can wear it the whole race, I'm not going to get chafe or anything like that. And head to toe, I might find a shirt from one company or a shorts from another company or whatever it was, but nothing head to toe that was really high performance and I just wanted to wear all the time. So that's where that started. And we want to see people, because we love doing crazy feats, the people who are going to be wearing Mega are doing crazy feats. And if you're going to do crazy feats, you need really high quality apparel. And there have been plenty of brands that I thought were amazing and then tried them and thought, like, what is going on with the quality here, you know? And so the other part of our business is the app. And what I love about the app is we're shaping people's physical ability through their mental capacity and belief in themselves and that they're capable of more. And then it's cool because we're almost creating our own audience for the apparel through the app. As in we create these freaking savages in the app and then they get to go and wear our apparel to do the savage things that they're doing, which is why I'm so passionate about it. So that's currently what I do. In terms of my day, it's interesting. I mean, Will does a lot more of the logistical side of things, like the marketing and just lots of stuff he does. I couldn't even tell you half the stuff that he does, but me, I do more of like the creatives, obviously my own social media, I do a lot of, pretty much the creative. So like all the assets that we have. I didn't think I was creative in school, but apparently I am creative, but I was more math science. And then content creation. I'm obviously an athlete as well, sponsored by Whoop, Puma, Centre and Butcher Crowd. So that's where a lot of my time goes as well. And then Mega, I do all the designs for Mega as well. So we just kind of do a lot of different things, but we do have split responsibilities. But I laugh because I thought about making this real. I'm sure you can relate to this as well, of being like, answering the phone and someone saying, hey, can I speak to customer service? And I'm like, yeah, let me just put it through. Hi, it's customer service here. And then like picking up like marketing and like, you know, we're doing all the things at the start. But we do have our first staff member who's officially part of the crew.
Wow, how exciting.
Big achievement. Steve. And Steve is one of our OG mega runners too. So it's just so cool to full circle it where now he's seen it from the very start and he knows what we're about. He knows us personally and now he's part of the business. It's really cool.
That's such a feel good moment, hey, when you like you got your first employee. And it's also cool that you're like you guys are like founder-led brands. Like, and I think we're starting to see that a lot more these days, right? With the emergence of 247, which you've done a little bit with, Cadence, Headstrong, March On. We did a conversation with Ollie March On over in the UK recently when we went over there, and his like ability, obviously he had a really great like social online presence, but then he built this beast in March On where it was just like protein and hydration, right? He's got his like physical gyms, he's got his like online training platform, he's got his apparel, he's got all these things, but he's still doing these like really hard challenges in the ultra space. He's chasing sub-3 in the marathon. He's actually going to come to Sydney Marathon.
Sick.
Yeah, so there's like
Sydney Marathon's quite a tough marathon, but I liked it.
Oh, don't tell me that.
No, but it's good because you have moments where it's harder and then easier.
Sure.
As in if you're just on a flat marathon, this might not be everyone's opinion.
Yeah.
It is a little bit hilly.
Yeah.
But I like that because then there's periods where you're like, wow, this is a little bit hard. But then you also get the downs where you're like, wow, this is so easy.
Yeah.
So kind of if you can experience change in emotion, I think it's better than just like the same thing.
Yeah.
Ultimately.
You're not running it, hey?
No. Well, I mean, not this stage.
No.
Like,
What do you mean? It's like a week away.
Okay. Like,
Next week.
no, I don't know what it is.
It's like 10 days away.
I'm gonna rub our arms.
Yeah. Because like
No.
you'll get a ticket. You're like, yeah, fine, I'll run it.
I'm like, well, you never know. I could be there.
We're gonna actually road trip down in the Troopy for it tomorrow.
So good.
And then like race it. But I got like this same from that UTA, my knee's just been like a bit like funny. And so now I'm in this stage where I'm just like, I probably like haven't been hitting the kilometers that I would have liked to. Like I would have loved to been hitting like a couple 30s, 32s, 34s before leading in. But I haven't been doing that. And so now I'm like, okay, well, how do I approach it? Do I either just like not do it, which I don't really want to because I really like, I'm excited. It's the first time it's a major. It's an exciting thing.
Yeah.
Or do I just like which is what I'm thinking of, take all the pressure off
Just enjoy it.
and just have fun.
Yeah.
Like one of my buddies, he's going to run like, I think he's going to run like 5:30, maybe like 6-minute kilometers. He's got like a big like speaker that he's going to run with. I'm like, maybe I just have a fun run.
Yeah.
Like maybe I just enjoy that.
Well, I mean, ask yourself what you want to do it for. As in if you really want, I don't know what time you're going for, but for some people, if you really want that sub-3 more than you want to enjoy the experience, have a crack at that sub-3. But if you really want to enjoy the experience, then I would suggest running the speaker dude.
I think I'm going to do the speaker dude.
I think it sounds great.
Yeah. You touched on purpose before, and I can see it in you. I can see that you're living an authentic life. We've talked about it. I can see it in like the things that you do with the business, your physical feats that you've been doing. It's very authentic. How does one find their purpose? Because I think about this all the time. We're lucky. We've found what we want to do. But what about those people who are like, yeah, that's all good.
But how?
Like where do I even start?
Yeah. I mean, I wish I knew this earlier than even what I did now as in school, because I feel like when you're in school, for me personally, I felt like there was 4 job options, like be it like a dentist, a physio, a lawyer, and like a vet or something like that. I just didn't realize how many different job or career options there is. And the cool thing now is obviously with social media, you can just about do anything and make it work. Yeah. As long as you go all in on it. So my response to that would be, rather than trying to figure out the one thing that you want to do, or maybe the couple of things that you want to do, try and figure out what you don't want to do. Sure. So go and do, as in, I hear people all the time saying, oh, I just don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what to do. And I'm thinking, well, how hard are you trying to figure it out? Yeah. As in, I know we spoke about this in the last time we recorded. It's, okay, so you think you want to be a physio. Did you ask a physio if he enjoys being a physio? Did you ask him if you could come and shadow him for free for a day and just be in the room learning from him? Did you tell him that you are thinking about doing it, but you're not sure? And they might love to have you there for a whole week. And then you go, actually, that's not what I want to do. Okay, well, maybe I want to be a doctor. Well, can you go and call a doctor that you know and ask them what their experience is as a doctor? As in, how much research have you done in the field that you might already enjoy? As in, you could like something like surfing and immediately all you think you could do is be maybe a surf instructor or a surfing athlete. But maybe there's 10 other options of careers in surfing. You could be a board shaper or like all these different things. But if you haven't researched the options, you don't know that they're there. And then obviously you can just start going through. We call them, it's not a concept from me. I feel like it might be Simon Sinek, but I cannot remember, of little experiments. So like rather than flipping your life on its head every single time you want to try something, do a little experiment. So
I love that.
Yeah, go and call your physio and see if he enjoys it, or go and be and shadow him for the day or whatever it is. Or if you think you want to do a business, rather than starting by setting up your ABN and your website and everything, like go and just try a step towards the business and see if you like it. Because Will told me this, or explained this concept to me. He probably didn't create it, but he said people have a thing called sunk cost bias. So bias, not biased, meaning that, for example, if someone goes and studies a uni degree, they come out, they've got a debt, they've spent all the time doing it, they feel like they need to keep going down that path because they've already invested so much in it. Or you start a business and you spend $5,000 on setting it all up, and then you realize you don't really like it, but you've already spent the $5,000, you're more inclined to keep going. But it's like going down, if you were on your navigation and you turned down a road that was a no-through road, would you keep going down the road, or are you going to turn around and go back on your path? That's the way that I would think about it, is you just keep going until you realize it's not right, and then you turn around and go back on your path and keep on going.
That's so cool, because you learned that through experience, right? Like you were studying vet.
I studied my bachelor in exercise and nutrition science, and then I realized, I mean, I enjoyed it, but I didn't really feel like it. I didn't really know what I wanted to do after that, because I sort of got a master after that to use that degree a whole lot. And then I thought I wanted to be a vet, and I got accepted into the vet science degree, which is 5 years.
It's also really hard to get into.
It's really hard to get into. And so I deferred it for a year, and I went and worked in a vet for a year. And after that, I realized that's not what I wanted to do either. And then, although even then, if I had have known, but you could be a vet on a TV show, or like, you know, there's different options even being a vet. Or if you love animals, you don't have to just be a vet or a zookeeper. Like there's all these other options. But our minds obviously like to live in that duality sense of our minds live in duality. And so after that, after realizing I didn't want to be a vet, my physio said, I'd love you to be a physio. And I thought, well, don't know what else I want to do, so let's go try that. Started physio. And then I met Will, and I wasn't loving physio, so I stopped physio after a year. But even though it seems like, oh, well, Meg was just wasting those years or whatever, I still learned so much that I now apply to what I'm doing now. And I don't have the itch of, oh, what if I tried vet? Or like, should I have been a vet? Or, you know, I'm just like, that wasn't for me.
You've ran like all these little experiments. And I agree. I subscribe to that. I think like
I like that. I subscribe to that.
Well, so someone said that to me, and I was just like,
stolen. I like that.
I was like, so if you listen to any podcast I've done, I was like, yeah, subscribe to that. I say it all the time. I need to phase it out of my vocab, actually. But what they were, I've lost my train of thought now.
Talking about people trying different
things. Yeah. Saying like figuring out what you don't want to do is just as important as figuring out what you want to do. I think that is so awesome, especially for people who are like in a little niche, like say professional sport, or they're in like a little time of their life and they want to make the jump into that next thing, but they're stuck in their full-time job or whatever it is. Like trialing little things, like go do a day on your weekend, or if you've got a day off, like go into that vet practice or the physiotherapy practice, talk to them. I think that is such a beautiful message, because you don't have to take the full leap straight away. Like even for this podcast, like this is actually the second week that we're full-time podcast.
Wow.
We've been,
So exciting.
It's exciting. But it was just like, we were, I was working full time. This was actually just this is just a passion project. And we were like, I was studying psychology, working full time, and then doing the podcast for 2 years while still working. And then just got to the point where we were like able to, I guess, like make it like financially like okay for us to jump into it. But it was like, that was never that was never the point. But the thing is, I loved it so much.
Yeah.
And I could spend I was in an endless amount of time with it. And you start thinking like, oh, well, imagine what it could look like if you spend 100% of the time instead of 20% of the time.
Yeah.
That was calculated. That was strategic. I wasn't going to just like start at week 1 and be like, okay, no, let's just do it full time. It's just like, I would have been broke.
Yes, that's true.
100%. But trialing it and doing everything and then just playing around with it. And then you get to the point where you're like, oh, actually, I am going to take the leap. Has there been any times where you've thought you really wanted to take the leap, but held back? Or are you just always all in?
I mean, I am. I have to say, what I was going to say when you were speaking before was that that method only works if you do give it your all in the moment that you're trying it. Because if you don't give it your all, then you internally, I could go and shadow someone in a physio practice but sit on my phone the whole time, and then I'm gonna think, oh, that's not for me, but is it really? Because I was on my phone. As in, you internally know that. So unless you go in there and you really absorb the whole experience, you're not going to be able to fully put it to bed. So it defeats the purpose of doing it in the first place. So for me, even from my first job was literally bagging meat at my neighbor's like butcher. Like that was my job.
So I
know, I'm like, guys, I work from the bottom.
We literally came from the bottom.
No, I just wanted the experience, and they had a butcher, so I worked there. But even from that first moment, it wasn't about the bagging the meat or anything like that. It was, okay, I'm gonna use this to get more comfortable talking to people. I'm gonna try and make sure that every person that leaves this day is gonna have a good experience. And if you can, I'm going to learn about how they made this business, as in, why not? You don't have to be in your passion now, but you got to be, what will give you peace is working towards. So say, for example, you're in a job right now that you don't enjoy. Okay, well, how can you get the best out of this job? Rather than thinking, I think people have the complete wrong mentality when they're not in something that they enjoy. They're going, I'm going to do the bare minimum to make the most money with the most rest, or I'm going to work from home because I don't like my work. I fully respect that people don't like their work, but if you're not doing something about it, then I don't think you should be complaining about it because you're not doing anything about it. So in those moments, like, okay, I don't like my work, but how could this benefit me for what I think I do want to do, or how could I move out of this? So can I learn better customer service skills? Can I learn marketing skills that I can use when I have a business? You know, there's all these things that you can learn from, and I think I did do that from a young age. So
do you practice gratitude consciously?
It is something that I think prayer kind of helps you, because you go, thank you for this, and it's something I actually want to do more, is rather than, because you can also get stuck in prayer going, can I please have this? Can I please have this? And that's not what it's supposed to be. It's saying thank you for what you have. So I think not directly saying I'm grateful for this, but giving thanks.
Because when you were talking about the meat, packing meat, and you were talking about all the little things that you were looking to do, like learning, it was just like you were zooming in on those little things. And that is a really great thing to do. Like positive reframing is probably like, it's tricky to do and it comes as a learned skill, but it's a really great thing to be able to do, where if you're in something and trying to find those little things, the best. It's such a great way to be present. It's such a great way to actually have really positive mental health. Like we can actually rewire our brain, because our brain is like, we have a negative bias, right? Like that is just like innately in all of us. But
or like a survival bias.
A survival bias, right? It's just like that's just part of our like genetic makeup. But being able to be like grateful or be in the presence, like actually in the moment, is like one of the hardest things to do. But but with time you can do it. And it just seems like the way you operate naturally without even it being like a conscious thought is just like you're in the moment, super like grateful for being there, even though it probably isn't where you like dreamed of being.
Yeah, well, because even I have found just through my personal experience that the hardships in life end up, you know, growing you the most or giving you the best lessons, is in the times that I have really struggled have literally created the best fruit in my life. So I also, doesn't always look pretty, but in the moment I'm going, okay, I'm finding this really hard, but I know something good is going to come from it.
Yeah,
I think
love that.
just reflecting, sometimes we've got to remind ourselves to use retrospect to look at those hard struggles and all the good that comes from it. Isn't the breakup that felt like the world was ending? Well, that means something really great is around the corner, and just believing for that is what I try to do.
Yeah, I was going to ask you how you navigate tough times, because from the outside looking in, it looks very exciting, right? Like it obviously, like, and it is.
Yeah.
But how do you go navigating those times where it can be pretty tough?
I definitely am a work in progress. It's not like I don't have emotions. It's not like I do get sad, and especially being on social medias, and not everyone has nice things to say, and I'm pretty good predominantly throughout the whole month, but I will be honest, around my cycle, I get a little bit wobbly.
Yeah.
And so one is like, obviously recognizing that in itself for me is, okay, well, it makes sense why I'm a little bit more fragile. I just say, I'm just not making my decisions. I'm not acting on it right now. But I think, yeah, realizing, using the retrospect to make the current problem, or rather than thinking, why is this happening to me? You think, what's happening for me? What good is going to come from this? What lesson can I learn from this?
Yeah.
I think that is the way to handle struggle.
Yeah. I think that's really awesome. I think that, like, that awareness that, like, our mind can get in the way sometimes.
Our mind is the problem.
Oh my God.
And it's interesting because this is something I have been learning with Trev at the moment, is how our minds live in duality. So good or bad, yes or no, this option or that option, but there's only two options. There's actually 1,000 of different options in every situation, even labeling disappointing, exciting, as in there's all these polarities that our mind likes to live in. So I think trying to get out of your mind and live from your heart will literally be a game changer for you.
I love that. That's actually come into my space in, like, the last 2 weeks. Like it's so wild, because, like, understanding that just because we have a thought doesn't make it an accurate thought. Doesn't make it a real thought. It's just a thought. We have thousands of thoughts every day. Being able to recognize it and be like, okay, that's a thought. Is that true? Like, am I not good enough? Is my partner too good for me? Are they not good enough for me? Like, all these things, and being able to recognize, like, no, that's actually not me. I think I love what you said, like, feeling what's in your heart and what's true to who you are.
So important.
Beautiful, right?
Because the thoughts, I think we can obviously get caught up thinking we are our thoughts, is what I think you were saying, in that you could have a negative thought or a not so good thought and think, wow, I'm now a bad person because that's what I'm thinking. It's like, no. I mean, in my opinion, I think that there is obviously, even if you believe in energies or whatever, it's like there is technically a spiritual battle going on at all times. So you're going to have good and bad, but it's which one. It's like if you had two dogs, good and bad. Obviously, we're trying not to live in dualities, but just for the sake of this, good or bad, which one do you choose to feed? Whichever one you feed is going to get bigger. So choosing to go, if I'm in a day when I'm feeling low, and I'll catch myself and be like, okay, but hey, I live in the Gold Coast. I have an amazing husband. I have good health. I can move my body. Like, and then you start to list those things out and you think, wow, okay. As in the Rogan Dean quote is it, as in on your absolute worst day, someone would give their best day for.
Oh my God.
And if you think that, you go, oh, okay. And not even from a sense of shame, as in being like, oh, I shouldn't feel like that, I'm a bad person. Just being curious about it, being like, okay, yeah, actually, are these thoughts true? Are they accurate, or is it just a day, a moment?
Yeah. Recognizing those thoughts, and also, like, being aware of, like, your actions as well. Like, just because you have these thoughts doesn't make you a bad person, but how you show up, right? And even understanding that we make mistakes.
Yeah.
Like,
100%
we make so many mistakes. But just because you've made a mistake doesn't mean you are a bad person unless you learn from it. If you can learn from it, great. That puts you in such a better position. But if you don't learn from it, it's just like, well, what are we doing? You know what I mean? And, like, having, like, I think, like, I don't know, I've been reflecting recently, and I think, like, if you've made a past mistake and you've been sitting on it for a week, a day, a week, a month, a couple years, you got to learn to be able to forgive yourself and be like, look, just because you made that one bad decision doesn't make you a bad person for the next forever. Recognize it, learn from it,
Yeah.
forgive yourself and move on.
I definitely agree. Forgiveness is very powerful.
Yeah. Meg, I've loved this.
So
I've
good.
loved this second conversation that we've had.
Yeah.
Before we finish up, is there anything that you'd like to touch on that you think we've missed?
Let me think about it. I mean, you can cut out this long pause that I'm giving. Trying to just think. I mean, we talked about trying to go mega Hyrox. I really like to think about it because I want to make sure that obviously what I said is helpful.
Let it sit and let it soak in.
What is something that you have learned through doing these podcasts?
Something that I've learned. Wow, no one really asked me.
Yeah,
questions
I know.
today.
And then I'll come back to you.
What have I learned through doing these podcasts? What have I learned? I think it's kind of like a similar theme that we've spoken about today is that everyone that has come on, right, are obviously like incredibly successful people. Like they've had really great success in their chosen field, sport, professional, academia, whatever it is. But they're all just normal people. Like we're all just normal people.
Yeah.
But their ability to be able to take away that ceiling, and a common theme that I've actually seen is like a lot of these people that have come on, they talk about their vulnerabilities, their struggles, hard times, like really gnarly times that they've been through. Some of them, not all of them, some of them. But their ability to be able to positively reframe those experiences into something good. You mentioned it before, where it's just like, yes, it is hard in that moment, but there will be good that comes from it. I see that that is like a constant theme, and I genuinely believe that is like it's almost like a superpower to be able to recognize. And I've got this thing where it's just like so often we can like spiral out of control, right?
Yeah.
Like we have like those thoughts, our mind gets in the way, we act on these thoughts, and it's bad, and we spiral out of control, drinking, drugs, like toxic relationships, all those things. But recognizing that we can actually spiral up as well, attaching ourselves to really positive thoughts, really positive people, getting that momentum, building that momentum, knowing that while we did have a hard time, there is good that comes from it. Like I put up a reel recently, like kind of some hard things that have happened in my life is like being medically retired from footy, losing a loved one, right? Like these are really hard things, but there are good that come from it. Like finishing up football and like losing one of my really good friends to suicide, that actually allowed me and put me on a path to wanting to understand humans, mental health. That got me into studying psychology. That got me into starting this podcast, and the good that have come from that and the messages that we get have been like the most fulfilling, self-fulfilling things that I've ever done. Like I get more passion out of this and purpose out of this than any like a fucking game of footy that I've ever played. You know what I mean? So in terms of like learnings, it's like I think the ability to be able to positively reframe and like spiral up.
Because also with what you're saying, footy, I think, I mean, I'm not a footy player, but from being an athlete myself, you can get caught up in it being about self rather than being about something greater than that. So maybe football in general, you might find more fulfilling if you feel like you're inspiring the younger generation rather than being a football star because it's attention and amazing. That's one thing that I think is important when we feed a purpose. If our purpose is for ourselves, it's a shallow purpose to have. Purpose has got to be a lot greater, and then you'll be able to do a whole lot more. I have one more question for you too. Do you feel like when you're interviewing people, I mean, I feel like you'll be interviewing people who are successful but also somewhat fulfilled. But I wonder whether you can tell when you feel like it's coming from their success has come from a place of hurt or something, or in like insecurity or lack of self-confidence versus when it's coming from a place of pure passion and fulfillment. Do you feel like you can tell the difference when you're speaking with people?
Yeah, it's kind of like are they chasing something or are they running away from something? It's I don't know. Yes, to answer your question, yes, I can. You can sense it. I think anyone who listens to the podcast can sense it, right? I think you can tell. I think that it's the way they articulate it. It's the energy that they put out. It's their mood when they're talking about it. You can see that 100%. I don't know if one's better than the other. I don't know. I haven't put enough thought into it. I'd love to be able to pressure test that. Like,
well, it's like better for what?
yeah.
As in, I'm saying in the sense of if they're doing it from a place of hurt, but they create success, it probably just means the success doesn't feel fulfilling when you get there, or you don't have peace around it. Versus if it's coming from a fulfilling place, you also appreciate when you get there.
Yeah, but it's also like, say, like someone who has gone through like really gnarly domestic violence and now they're an advocate for it. Advocate against it. It's just like, while it's come from a hard place, they're actually doing really good.
Yes, but I'm not saying it from a place of that they've used it for good. I'm saying that it's coming from a place of a different person that is lacking confidence in themselves. So they just work.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. I do know what you mean. Yeah. No, I can agree with that. I subscribe to that. For sure.
Oh my God, you're not allowed to say that anymore.
I'm just going to start intertwining that into every sentence. But yeah, no, I think so.
Well, you asked me if I had anything else I wanted to talk about. And I think one thing that we didn't touch on that I want to share is, obviously I've talked about fulfillment, but I think sharing where my confidence first came from is important, because if you're listening to this and you're struggling with confidence, or you're struggling to love who you are, I would say, one, start by moving your body. As in, a lot of my confidence came from knowing who I was, one, and knowing what I was capable of. So, for example, knowing who you are means, knowing that you have strengths and weaknesses, and that everybody does. So you could literally list those strengths and weaknesses down. So if then someone says, oh, well, you're not good at that, you don't care, because you're like, yeah, I know. I know I'm not good at that. It doesn't bother me. And then obviously the other one is running allowed me to build confidence, but you could do gym, you could do swimming, you could do anything.
Yeah.
It's just practicing saying no to that voice of self-doubt that tells you to stop.
Yeah.
So if you go for a run, everyone gets to that point where they want to stop.
Yeah.
It's about practicing pushing past that. And every time you do that, you're just putting in the reps to remember that you don't have to listen to that voice of self-doubt. You can keep going. And it's the same for your life. So you might want to be a dentist, but think that you can't do it.
Yeah.
Well, if you've learned that you can actually push past that point of self-doubt in your running, you can apply that to your life.
I imagine that's probably a huge barrier for a lot of people. Loved ones in my life want to get into running, right? I think I've spoken to you about this, but it's that first step that's the hardest, right? And you can see it, like you can see that they're so capable of it, like you believe in them, but sometimes they just need to take that first little step.
Yeah.
All right. And then you think that those little steps, you start building momentum, and then next thing you know, you haven't run a marathon, but then you're running a 100K ultra or something like that.
But you have to build. The reason to run needs to be more than the reason to not.
Yeah.
Or to keep going needs to be more than the reason to not. That's the only way that you can keep going, because our minds are always going to choose the path of least resistance, or the path of safety, the path of comfort. But realizing that that's what our brains are wired to do, and you don't have to listen to it, is key. So if your family, someone in your family found out that they were really overweight and it was affecting their health, well, then they might get to a point where they go, well, it's really important for me to be around for my kids. Now the running is the more important reason, because the kids are the more important than themselves, if that makes sense. They couldn't do it for themselves, but they're going to do it for their kids, if that makes sense. Like, find some reason that's going to make you keep going. That normally losing weight is not a strong enough reason. It's got to be something bigger than that, like your health or your confidence or your kids or your family or whatever it is. That's got to be the reason. You've got to figure out what it is that's going to keep you running.
Meg, I've loved this podcast.
I feel like it was better than
I reckon second time is better than the first.
Deck, because he was here for both.
Jack, what do you reckon? Better than the first one? Yeah, definitely said he's taken more notes. Meg, hey, thanks so much for coming on today. Like, I think I've said it to you before, but I just love how, like, you're just living your authentic self, and that radiate. And then, to be honest, like, I take so much energy from that. So thank you so much.
My pleasure. It's messy, but it's perfect.
Done.
Thank you.